Gold and silver are ancient commodities, so don't even waste your time. Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? This is Silver Husky, and today's video we're going to be talking about the difference between real money and what we use today, which is paper currency. Now, you may have heard quite a bit of this being mentioned in the news lately, people talking about getting out of the dollar and into something that's more real, whether it be real estate, land, or something physical, precious metals or collectibles, things like that. The question always arises, why? Why bother? Why go into something that is not tried and true? But I argue it is tried and true, and it's been around for thousands of years. People have used it as a means of currency. But then the question arises, what is money? What really is money, right? We talk about money and we think about greenbacks, right? We think about Federal Reserve notes or what we call cash. It is something that is exchangeable for goods and services. But what is gold and silver, and where does that fit into the whole scheme of things? So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Follow on for new videos. We've got new stuff coming out all the time. Now, when you mention money in this day and age, people tend to think of greenbacks or euros or whatever other currency is used in their country. Now, I'll take a couple of seconds to explain some of the other currencies used before that. Once upon a time, people used to use shells. These are called cowrie shells, as well as Venetian trade beads. Eventually, civilizations standardized the use of gold for means of exchange for goods and services. So let's first take a second to define what is money. Money is meant to be three things. First of all, it's a medium of exchange. It's a unit of account, and it's a store of value. Regarding a medium of exchange, if you make beer and I make pies, and I want a beer from you, but you're allergic to what I put in my pies, that doesn't mean the transaction can't happen. We just need a common medium of exchange. In this case, money. A unit of account is fairly self-explanatory. And regarding the store of value, that's the tricky one. So for that one, we're going to get into the characteristics of money. So as we just defined it, money should have the following characteristics, and I'm going to break it down by gold and silver versus paper money. So what we're really asking here is it durable, divisible, portable, uniform, in a limited supply, and fungible? Now, starting with durability, this just means, can it last through the test of time? As you can see, gold and silver is durable. Although you can beat it up, melt it down, turn it into something else, you really can't get rid of it unless maybe you vaporize it, in which case it still exists, it's just in a vapor form. Next up is divisibility, and as you know, gold and silver can be broken up into smaller bits and made into smaller coins or larger coins. So yes, gold and silver is divisible, as is paper money, because there are several different denominations of paper money. Next is portability, and yes, gold and silver is portable to an extent. Clearly, if you're hauling around a 400-ounce bar of gold, that's not necessarily portable, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to call this portable. On the flip side, we have paper money, which is highly portable, especially since it comes in several different denominations. Portability counts. Now, uniformity just means that the item in question must have a uniform exchange rate across the globe. Now, although I'm sure there will be some argument in the comments section about it, generally speaking, yes, gold and silver is uniform as well as paper. Next up is limited supply. Now, think about this. Gold and silver, there's only so much of it in the ground still left to pull up, and it's not easy to get out of the ground. Secondarily, the gold that's already on the planet is generally being consumed, even at a small rate. It's being used in electronics, in jewelry, etc. So there is a level of consumption to consider in a limited supply to gold and silver. So we'll say yes, it is limited. Now, when discussing the paper currency, the US dollar or any other currency currently not tied to gold, that's generally not going to be limited in supply. And we see that in recent years with quantitative easing, which is a fancier way of saying printing money. And it happens across the globe. You pull any currency off of a standard, meaning back in the day, gold was tied to the dollar. I should say dollar was tied to gold, meaning for every $5 you had in your pocket, you could exchange it for $5 in gold at whatever bank or treasury. Now, here's a little snippet from an article talking about how the Fed decides how much money gets made. And at the end, you're going to see that it explains that there's 2.25 trillion in circulation right now. And no, this isn't some bogus stat. This is actually right off the Fed's website. This is one of their statistical releases that came out earlier in 2022. So again, we're talking $2.25 trillion in circulation somewhere, right? And again, that's not even the debt clock. Here you're going to see the US debt clock is at 30 trillion. And it keeps going up every second. If you go click on it now, it's going to be a higher number than what you see in this video because every second it's going up. And please mind you, that is just in circulation or debt that's accounted for. That doesn't include any derivatives markets or anything like that, because then you'd be talking about hundreds of trillions to quadrillions, etc. So again, to that, we will say no, there is no limited supply to the paper market. Next up, we have fungibility, and fungibility just means that I can exchange this gold coin for that gold coin if they're of equal weight and purity, or that there's a gold to silver ratio where I can exchange X amount of ounces of silver for X amount of ounces of gold, etc. So for fungibility, we can say both gold and silver and paper are fungible. Now, the last and arguably the most important of any of these items, which isn't on this list yet, is whether or not the item is acceptable as an exchange for goods and services. And again, remembering that money in and of itself has to be accepted as money in order for the exchange of goods and services to occur. So if you were to walk in with, let's say 3 ounces of silver to fill up your diesel truck at the gas station, will all gas stations accept it? Not likely. Now, you may find 1 or 2 that has a gas station owner that actually knows the value and the worth of gold or silver, but the other ones aren't going to take it. They're not likely to accept your exchange rate for their goods or services. Now, there is a way around that. Obviously, you can take your precious metals to a pawn shop, exchange it for cash, and then take the cash and exchange that for your goods and service. So in that aspect, yes, there is a third party that must be involved, for that exchange to occur. But otherwise, in that case, I would say cash is a little bit more useful in that aspect, right? In the immediate need, cash is necessary. However, there is the factor of storing your wealth. So gold and silver will always preserve some level of wealth. They will never go to zero. It's impossible. They're used in too many applications, whether it be jewelry or electronics, or just for your average stacker. You think about it, nations are buying up gold. They are stockpiling gold, or at least if they're smart, they are, because gold is the money of kings. And, you have silver. Silver is the money of common folk, right? And debt is the money of peasants. So if you look at your US dollar, your treasury note, right, it will say there that it is a note of debt. And we are trading debt when we're trading cash. So the hard stuff, the real stuff, gold and silver, that's really where it's at, guys. If you have it, great. If you don't have it, there are means to get it. I just posted a video earlier that explains many, many different ways to buy gold and silver from reputable people in a manner that you will not get scammed. If you're careful, you'll get taken care of. Now, if this video was at all useful to you, please go ahead and drop a like, hit that subscribe button, forward it on to a friend that maybe wants to learn a little bit about gold and silver. Just know that there's a lot of different items out there, gold and silver wise, right? You can buy constitutional silver, you can buy minted coins, you can buy silver shot and pour your own really cool items out of silver if that's what you want to do. But just know that it is a hard asset. It's real money. It's real wealth. It's been tried and true for generations, right? Your parents' parents used this stuff as a means of currency. Today, what we have is paper. It's not real. It can be gone in the blink of an eye. And if that happened, where are you storing your wealth to preserve it? That's just a question to think to yourself. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.